Welcome to Ministers Talking a weekly program where Rev BRZ and Rev Z and their guests chat about current affairs, world events, spiritual principles, and any old they want to talk about. Based on the new thought philosophy and ancient wisdoms, Ministers Talking shares a visionary perspective of the evolving spiral called spiritual living. Join us each week as we explore the emerging paradigm of life on planet Earth and beyond.
And good morning again, dear ones. Reverend Robert with you over here.
Rev Z right here.
And Pastor Michael Mangus here.
And we're three ministers talking shit. Happens every Friday morning. Well, at least two of us every Friday morning at 7 a.m. Mountain Time here on the New Thought Media Network. Thank you for being with us. As our wonderful intro voiceover said, we talk about anything we want to talk about on this show. And we do our best to bring it back to spiritual principle by the bottom of the hour. If you're with us, feel free to chime along, comment along, let us know you're watching, yell at us, shout at us, whatever. If you'd like to suggest something that we talk about, you're welcome to do that, or send us an email at goodnews@ntmedia.org. All right, gentlemen. Favorite subject in the world for this program, I think. If there's one thing we talk about more than anything, it's this. Or if there's anything we talk about more than this, I don't know what it is. Race relations in the NFL. Here we go. Z, it would appear there's a move for black ownership of the Denver Broncos.
Yeah.
I don't know how you feel about that.
Well, I think it'll be great since in the 101 year of the NFL, there's never been a black owner. So that would be great. Then that would also put a lot of pressure on the other owners. If they have any diversity issues that with the black owner at the table, they would have to, the conversation would change a lot, right? And given that the NFL is, in terms of players, is about 65-70% black, it would be a historic change and would bring about a lot of equity, or begin to bring some equity to that league, I think.
So who is in line as far as to buy the Broncos? Been rumored.
The one that's getting the most news right now is Brian Allen. He's a comedian which probably most people might know him by, but he has a television network. He actually owns the Weather Channel, and he has some other ventures. So he's in line. Another person is a person that they call the richest black man in America, and that is Robert Johnson. And he was born and raised here in Denver. He's worth about 7-point-something billion. And for the person to be called the owner of the team, they must buy 30% of that $4 billion price tag, which would come to about $1.2 billion.
$4 billion to buy a professional team?
Yes, $4 billion to buy the Broncos.
I thought, yes, when they did the switchover here in Ohio, when the Cleveland Browns left, when Art Modell went ahead and sold them to Baltimore, it was around $1 billion, and that was 15, 20 years ago. So yeah, $4 billion. Well, again, I think what makes that lucrative is all the media contracts out there. That's the reason why the price is up there. But no, I think that the whole idea of having black ownership, again, when you understand that most of your players are African American, it makes sense. I mean, there is black ownership in the NFL, in the NBA. So I think that it really does. I think it benefits all with having ownership here also. So go ahead.
I didn't write the names down, but we did look it up last week. There's less than 10 black people. Don't even want to say men. I don't even know if Oprah qualifies. There's less than 10 black people in the country of America that could qualify to buy this team. So we got a couple of things we could talk about here, right? Hey, kudos to the NFL. Maybe they're finally catching up. I'm going to affirm that they're finally catching up with the times. The more distressing thing for me is, why aren't there more black billionaires? I'd like to see a black billionaires club that's got more than 10 members. If I could count them all on my two hands, that's the problem.
Because you could get, I mean, right now, if I tried to call off, I mean, you got Robert Smith, you got Brian Allen, you got Oprah, you got Michael Jordan, you got Kanye West, you may have Magic Johnson might be in there, Jay-Z.
It's going to get tough, folks.
And then there are a lot that are close. I'm
Janet
sure.
Jackson, but I don't think she's a billionaire, but she's not.
No, she wasn't on the list I was able to.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Not every, so we've got a handful of people. I'm going to stick by my piece. I think we need to see more black billionaires in the country.
Would be nice.
Yeah. Billionaires of Korean descent, billionaires of Asian descent, billionaires of any descent. But, I mean, I don't. But
so I just went and looked it up. All right. And some of these are, well, they got black billionaires, but they have put it from the whole African American diaspora. They have three. There are three Africans at the top of the heap. And the first one that's in the U.S. is Robert Smith.
To put down 1.2 billion on a venture, I don't know that Jay-Z or Oprah are going to do that, because that's going to blow their whole wad. Right? You got to have to make that kind of a bet. Don't you have to have 10 or 12 billion in the bank if you're going to wager 1.2 on a football team?
Yeah, you got to have some class. You got to have cash flow for sure. Like black Americans, I'm looking here at the top 17 of Tyler Perry is at 17 with 1 billion. If you go back up, 13 is Michael Jordan at 1.6. This was 2021 numbers. Kanye West is 11 at 1.8. Oprah is at 8 with 2.5. And then
Oprah wouldn't spend half her wealth on a football team, right? So no. She's out. She doesn't even qualify.
No, the only two African Americans that qualify would be David Stewart, who's worth 3.17. He's the founder and chairman of the largest African American owned business, Worldwide Technology. Excuse me. And then the other one would be Robert Smith, who's a financial guy. He's $6 billion.
Where's Brian Allen on this list?
He's not on this list. But these lists are kind of arbitrary. This was from 2021. So, and it's like any other list, I don't know how they actually decide who's on it. I mean, you would think it would be money, but obviously Brian has enough because he's in the running.
So,
it's corporations also, I think that because of his media ventures.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We must have our numbers wrong then, gentlemen. Because what I just pulled up says Brian Allen's net worth is only $450 million.
Well,
so either that or he just took out a big ass loan from Roger Goodell, from the Kraft family. I don't know
well, that's what they're put. It's been all over the news.
Well, yeah, I think also something also to be discussed is also where are African Americans as far as the in technology. The money here in the past few years has been made in technology. So where are the African Americans there also? So
well, Robert Smith is in. Well, he's in finance. This other
Yes.
guy, Stewart, is in. He's an IT provider, David Stewart.
Yes.
But he's the only. He's the biggest that I know.
So that's why we emphasize again not only education but also STEMs, training for our African American men and women. I think that where the wealth is being made now, as far as that goes, has been in technology here, or the people who are sending people to space here have been people who've been in the technology field. So,
well, and oddly enough, a colleague of mine sent me something this morning, an article on how the technology industry is failing Black workers.
Yeah.
Because it's again, you could say that when these industries start budding, the guys who have the money can get in first and lock it up. And then they make it very difficult for other people to get in, to get opportunities, to get contracts or whatever it is. So it becomes a catcher's catch can to try to get people involved in that industry.
Right. So see, folks, what we're talking about here is not really football. It's wealth disparity.
Yeah.
It's the truth. And because we could immediately look at the NFL as a great example of what Rev BRZ was just saying. It got controlled by white boys early on. They had the money, they had the industry, they had the cash to be able to do these things. And from that day, it's become harder and harder and harder and harder for anyone of color to break into those upper ranks. And we may have our numbers very wrong here on the price of the team, how much Brian Allen would have to come in with, what all those things are. I'm seeing a little bit different numbers in my search. Don't worry about the numbers. It's the principle that we want to talk about. And the principle that I see is we're being called to come to a greater expression of equity, not just financially. Yes, that's part of it. But most importantly, equity between color of pay equity among color and gender.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you just think about money, right? I just saw, and the price for the Broncos is correct. They are starting the price because it's a bid, right? So somebody could bid it higher. The opening bid that they have right now for the Broncos is $4 billion with the B. That's the starting price for the Broncos right now. And then when you look at the Super Bowl that'll happen on Sunday, a 30-second commercial, the top number for the 30-second commercial, and I don't know how they determine, I know it's hours and placement, but that thing costs $7 million with the M dollars for 30 seconds. Now, that's some money to be spending for 30 seconds.
Also, it's one of the largest audiences that you'll get on TV during the year. So again, if you are a large company, and that's one of the things that they bet on a lot of the .com in the late 90s, where they went ahead and they bet the bank by buying those large commercials, and a lot of them again ended up belly up because of the times. I mean, I think that a lot of the .com has come back though. So
pop quiz. What was your favorite Super Bowl commercial of the last 10 years? Yeah, exactly. So $235,000 per second. Per second. 233,333, right? Per second. And none of us I can remember my favorite commercial from the Super Bowl because it was only 1 second. It was a big black guy, and it was a black guy, and they cut to this big black guy. He goes, Miller. And they flashed the Miller beer sign, and that was it. 1 second. I don't remember what year, but I remember that was the thing. Miller said, F you guys. We're just going to buy a 1 second commercial then. And it was the best commercial of the year. Are we? Is the Super? So here's my big thing, guys. Is the Super Bowl about money or football or sports?
Well, it's a conglomerate, and because here's the thing. I'm from Florida originally, and in Florida is God in football, and
no, it's the other way around, dude. I got friends in Florida. It's the other way around. Yeah. It don't matter what your God said if your football team wins.
So, and the thing with football is the NFL provides a lot of jobs and a lot of opportunity.
Yes.
And for obviously for the players, but for people who have contracts to maybe maintain the field or provide food or help build the stadiums. Now, of course, those are some of those may be peanuts compared to what these owners got. I mean, when you look at SoFi Stadium this Sunday, even if you don't watch it, look at that stadium. That stadium that they built out there is bar none. I mean, from what I can tell, the ceiling turns into a big TV screen almost. I mean, it's crazy. Yeah. The money that went into that. So it provides, like anything else, any one industry or thing has all of the sundry, jobs. Like you look at the automobile industry, then you got all the industry that create tires and seats, the leather for the seats or the cloth for this, so you begin again, we get back to the spiritual principle. It's all connected. But we can also lean on that idea that we have in our movement, a world that works for everybody. It's all connected, but it ain't working the same for some people as it is the other. And that's what this whole thing I see about the NFL having a black owner is to begin to try to, there'll always be people who are lesser or more. That's just life. I mean, a shrub is never going to be as tall as an oak tree. But as long as the shrub gets what it needs and is happy, it doesn't really need to be as tall as oak tree. It's just, it provides just as much whatever to the environment as the oak tree.
Yeah.
Can I bring up some of the comments here?
Yeah.
Comments?
Yeah.
I'll bring up. Hi, Linda. Good morning. Thank you for including gender in your statement. When I graduated from college in 73, I couldn't even apply for a credit card or get a car loan without getting a male cosigner. Controlling wealth matters in this world. Thank you, Linda. Thanks for bringing that up also.
Absolutely, Linda.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And that, as I think back, that came up, and that thinks that because at one point, Boland's daughter was supposed to take over the team.
Right.
And then there was some controversy. There was some family stuff. I don't know which won out, whether the good old boys wanted to let the ladies at the table or not, or whether it was just family squabble that prevented her from doing that. But they had that opportunity if they could have came to a conclusion because they own the team. So she would have had to go through some hoops. She had to do some training, which she did. But for whatever reason, the family decided it's better to sell.
Hey, we'll give a team to the black guy, but women? What the? The only reason we let him in the locker room is so that guys can walk around naked. Come on now. We can't let a woman buy a team.
Reverend Brzezinski. I'm shocked. Not really.
I'm secretly an NFL owner. I can tell you what's going on at the table.
Yeah. Yeah.
And all right. So hold it. Who's going to win Sunday?
Oh.
Dude, commercials are $7 million for 30 seconds.
Yeah.
I don't think you have the money for that information.
Yeah. What? Who's going to win?
I don't think you have a bankroll to buy.
Well, now hold it. Now, I'm from Ohio, so the Bengals are in. I mean, I think it's a miracle that we even have an Ohio team in it.
I tell you, here's my prognostication. I think the chips are on the Rams side They're playing at home.
I would think it's their stadium. Yeah.
They got one of the best defenses in the league. They got a couple of defensive players, with Von Miller from Denver and oh God, I can't think of his name. The other defensive player there. But then they got Odell Beckham. They got Matt Stafford, who came out of Detroit. They have and Cincinnati's offensive line is not that good. But I'll tell you, I am not counting Cincinnati out. They have been able to rise to the occasion. I don't know if they got one more in them, but they've been able to rise to the occasion and beat some good teams.
Yeah, the Rams are favored to win on the betting odds by it's Rams by 4.5 points, which isn't very much. So Las Vegas is taking a look at this and saying, well, this is pretty even. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah. And the media is looking for that. They're looking for either one of those stories, right? They're looking for either Matt Stafford, who's probably on his way out to do it after and being in Detroit all this time, and then they're looking at the Bengals quarterback as only being in the league for 2 years, coming out of LSU, and winning the Super Bowl, and that's going to put him up there with Mahomes, and then we're going to have they're creating a new rivalry. Aaron Donald is the guy I was trying to think of for the Rams. He's considered one of the best defensive players in the league right now.
Well, this is Linda's prediction. I like the underdogs.
That'd be Cincinnati.
That's Linda's prediction. So, okay, so go Bengals.
Well, and if I'm getting my stats right here, nobody's ever won a Super Bowl on their home field. It's actually very rare for a home field advantage for there to be a home field team. It's only happened a couple times in history, but this would be the first time if they win. If the Ravens win, this would also be a world first.
Oh yeah, because I thought Miami won it in Miami once the Super Bowl. But I could be wrong.
I'm not finding anything.
Wow. Yeah, that's the other good thing about sports in general for young people, for kids, basically, is teaching math through the stats.
That's a sneaky way of doing it.
Yeah, okay. But it works. I mean, I used to go to Philadelphia during the summer because I had uncles and aunts there, and we'd go watch the Phillies in the old Connie Mack Stadium. And you'd have to, at the end of the game the next day, the kids will be out talking about so-and-so's batting averages and the pitcher's ER. And so you got to do a little math to figure out what those batting averages and on base percentages. And, it was simple kind of stuff, but it got you involved in seeing how you could use the math in a real way, so to speak, other than just 1 + 1 = 2. And so, go ahead.
I just say 2020 Buccaneers.
Okay, that's what it was.
2020 Buccaneers played last year's Super Bowl in February 2021 and won in their own stadium. The only time it's ever happened. So this would be second time. Sorry. Yeah. So it's already happened. This would be the second time back to back. Got to clear those up, folks.
Yeah, it's gonna be.
Well, myself and Linda, we're rooting for the Bengals. So. Of course we are.
They'd string you up by your toenails if you were rooting for the Rams out there, wouldn't they?
Well, I don't know. It's just it's football's interesting because I know that Pittsburgh is not that far away from me, and I remember I was over there for a church function, and I went into a restaurant, and you didn't even have to tell me that the Steelers lost because people were coming, with the down faces. So, sometimes, I get concerned about that with people, again, putting their feel good based upon how their NFL team does. But unfortunately, the Steelers have not. Well, again, they have not done very good this year. They did not make the playoffs. So go ahead.
But no, here's the magic, right? That you just said from the spiritual perspective. The sports and sports fans, it's easy to look at this whole of placing your identity outside of yourself, right?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, there've been some people that have been killed at sporting events because someone was for another team and they said something about the other team, and the person took it so personally that they did something heinous and stupid about something that they're not getting a dime off of, most of them.
Right.
And it allow their whole personality or their whole interactions to be based on a sporting event. And that speaks to this idea from a spiritual perspective that we must be cultivating our own self-image and our own self-esteem, not tied to something else outside of us that we have no control over.
Right.
Yes. Very good.
Yes. Your self-worth does not hinge on who wins on Sunday.
Even if you make a bet, hopefully nobody bets outside their limits. But even if you make a bet and lose, it's not the end of the world unless I you done bet the house, and now that's a problem.
Put it all on the Bengals. No, I didn't say that. It does seem like we have a consensus for the underdogs, though. Whoever that may be, right?
That's right. So, we here on the New Thought Media Network, we do not give betting advice.
No.
So
we don't know it. We don't know enough to give advice.
Look, if you took our advice on who to bet for, you got more problems than the fact that you're betting on football.
Yes.
Well, folks, we've effectively done it. We had 3 great topics we wanted to talk about today, and we just spent the whole day talking about football. Sounds like what 3 guys would do on this weekend, right? Yeah, we're pretty sexually stereotypical here today, guys. Talking nothing about football. So, but it is Super Bowl weekend. It is a good time to take a look at how these things affect our society, how these things affect us, what we allow into our consciousness, what we allow into our lives around these ideas. We do want to give a shout out to Monday. Don't forget Monday, Valentine's Day. Give your sweetie something special, and if you don't have a sweetie, then let's go find you one. But let's not make it the Ice Shack prostitutes. What lake was that, Michael? Tell that story.
Well, no, you
got 30 seconds.
Okay, so what happened is that again, Hudson, Ohio is in the news because the mayor has opened their mouth by saying that if they allow ice shanties on their city lake, that may increase prostitution in the shanties.
Have fun for Super Bowl weekend, but please don't visit the ice shanty prostitutes.
Who wants to put a pin on an ice lake? If it melts, we got problems.
That's right.
There's a really inappropriate joke there that I'm not going to make because we've got 20 seconds, so we're going to get out of here, folks. Thanks for being with us. This is Ministers Talking Shit. We're here every Friday. You can check our past broadcasts over on our Facebook channel and or our YouTube archives. If you're so inclined, please do support New Thought Media Network. It's thanks to viewers and listeners like you that we're able to bring you this programming and all the amazing programming we do. So before we leave, we are, if I can find the proper video, there it is. We're going to say a quick thank you to our sponsor.
Thank you, Center for Spiritual Living Denver, for your continued support. Thank you, Center for Spiritual Living Midtown Atlanta, for your monthly contribution. Thank you, Center for Spiritual Living North Jersey, for your monthly contribution. And please help us welcome Om Center for Spiritual Living in La Mesa, California. Thank you for your monthly donation. Thank you, Center for Spiritual Living Seattle, for your most generous donation. And a special thanks to Hefferland Foundation for your generous technology grant. And Suze Ajit, thank you for your very generous donation. And a big shout out to all our committed donors.
All right, folks, thank you to everyone that makes this network possible. We've got just a few seconds for final thoughts. Rev Z.
You know, my thing would be the Super Bowl is for, you know, for the general public to have fun, to get with friends. Let's do that and get some laughs in, get some fun time in with people you love, safely, of course. And I think that will help the world be a better place. Friends and fun.
Pastor Michael.
And I concur with Reverend Z. No, have a great Super Bowl Sunday. Thank you. Yeah.
You know, I'm going to say something I haven't said in a long time. Go Broncos. Until next time, everyone.
You're not in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I know. We're going to get a black. We're going to get
Go
a black
Bengals.
owner.
Go Bengals.
But we're going to get a black owner. Go Broncos. Until next time, everyone. We love you. We can't wait to see you again. Peace.
Peace.
And thanks for listening to this week's episode of Ministers Talking. We'll be back again next week with more commentary on current affairs, world events, and any other our ministers want to talk about. And if you found value here, please share our with your friends. Until next time, peace and blessings.